Hi everybody, this is Shahryar Shahid and you're watching All of Your Business. In All of Your Business, we talk about major economic developments. Without any further delay, let's speak to our guest, Mr. Mehtab Adar. Assalamu alaikum, sir. Sir, my first question to you is this: there are no cheap contraceptives now because IMF has turned down the request to abolish 18% GSTs on contraceptives. So, what are your thoughts about it?
Bismillah Rahman Rahim, thank you very much for having me. Actually, Pakistan's population growth is one of the highest in the world, 2.55%. And that's why Prime Minister of Pakistan had chaired a meeting in last August, whereby he directed to the Federal Board of Revenue to make a request with the IMF to consider abolishing 18% GST on contraceptive. So, in last week, there was a virtual meeting with the IMF whereby the FBR's team made a formal request to the IMF in this regard, but IMF had turned down this request, arguing that in the halfway when FBR was facing a massive revenue shortfall, it was not possible for the fund to consider any lenient view on the fiscal side when there was expectations of a shortfall of almost 500 billion in the first half from July to December period. But there was another wish list of the government of Pakistan to reduce the GST on baby diapers. But it was not presented before the IMF because on contraceptive there was a revenue involved of rupees 400 to 600 millions. But on baby diapers, there was a revenue attached to it to close to the 100 billion rupees. So this proposal was not discussed, but it might be considered in the next budget.
Right.
So till the next budget, there will be no cheaper availability of contraceptive, despite Pakistan's population growth is increasing at rapid pace.
Right. So, Pakistan has recently sought massive ADB loan to tackle the monster of remaining circular debt that amounts to 1.7 trillion.
Actually, this power sector is facing the monster of the circular debt. Despite Government of Pakistan has generated 1.2 trillion rupees from the banks to clear the stocks of the circular debt. But still it hovers around 1.7 trillion. And the gas sector's circular debt is another one, that is another monster. So ADB's Director General has been visiting Pakistan, and Pakistan's Power Minister Awais Ahmad Khan Lagari, he has made a request to the Asian Development Bank to provide them a loan so that Pakistan would be able to clear certain part of its piling up circular debt with the help of this loan. Let me remind you another thing. Asian Development Bank and the World Bank are actively involved in Pakistan's power sector reforms. But this power sector is facing multiple problems. And there are multiple problems, but the one problem is when the WAPDA was unbundled in 90s, then the GENCOs for power generation and the DISCOs were established. But at that time, it was envisaged that everything will be handed over to the private sector. So the problem is this half-cooked policy actually multiplied or manifold the problems of the Pakistan's power sector. Now there is public sector GENCOs are in the hands of the public sector, although IPPs are there, and the DISCOs are also in the public sector. So there is a need to move towards privatizing these, especially GENCOs as well as these DISCOs. And Government of Pakistan has invested 3 or 4 DISCOs that would be privatized under the IMF program in the next 1.5 year period.
So, do you think privatization can bring everything down?
That is another very, very important question, because we have seen that Karachi Electric Supply Company KE was privatized, but it didn't resolve all the problems. There are that this privatization model should be reviewed carefully, and then there should be a strong regulator, because without these 2 prerequisites, no privatization can achieve success. But if the privatization was done in a transparent manner that promote competition within the sector, and then there should be a strong regulator, then this kind of privatization can solve the problems.
Right. So, talking about the inflation, we have done lots of podcasts on how inflation works and how prices go up. Flour, it has gotten costlier in Sindh due to delayed government action. So, what are your thoughts about it?
Actually, we have discussed this wheat and flour crisis in couple of months back, whereby I have predicted that this crisis is looming. And now the time has come when there is possibility. Although in the last couple of months or few months period, we have seen that the flour and the wheat prices has gone up. So that was the one aspect. But recently, the government of Sindh has reduced the release price a little bit. So it triggered a crisis-like situation for the flour mills, and they are facing a lot of problems. So this flour and wheat crisis might be multiplied in the next few months, because the next crop will be available in Sindh in April and in Punjab in May. So the next 4 to 5 months period are very crucial. There is another thing. There is one forum that is called National Price Monitoring Committee, NPMC, which is headed by the Minister for Planning, and Pakistan Bureau of Statistics and all other relevant ministries are supposed to review the prices on regular basis and report to this NPMC. Now it is also the responsibility of the NPMC to review the wheat and flour prices regularly, so that there should be no exploiters in the market to exploit the situation.
Right, right. So, current account has turned positive in November with $100 million surplus, $100 million surplus. So, what do you think about this?
Actually, in the last month, there was a massive deficit, and this time I think the State Bank of Pakistan and all the relevant ministries, they have reviewed it, especially the import side, but that is the reason. Although we were unable to increase our exports, and there are 2 reasons. One is the closure of some bordering areas, and another one is the rice situation. And because of the floods, the rice production and its exports was impacted negatively. So these 2 reasons had actually reduced our exports growth. But on our import side, I think State Bank of Pakistan and all other relevant ministries, they have taken certain measures to reduce the speed of coming imports into Pakistan. That's helped Pakistan to achieve the surplus. And another thing is that remittances also played a crucial role. Another thing is, of course, we have been able to increase the dollar inflows that helped to achieve the current account surplus in the last month.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. This was all for today. If you want us to discuss some specific topic, do let us know in the comments or DM us on Facebook, on Instagram, or on YouTube. Till then, keep watching All of Your Business. This is Shariar signing out.